So I promised that we'd start talking about food. So in Ayurveda, the various food groups are described: the grains, the pulses like the chickpeas and kidney beans, the vegetables, the spices like ginger, turmeric, sweeteners like sugar and honey and molasses, nuts and seeds like almonds or flax seeds, fruits, meats, teas and juices. But it does go on to describe individual foods, and to give you an example how it would describe, say, barley. It would describe barley as reducing your Pitta and your Kapha, but increasing your Vata. It would describe barley in terms of its qualities of being light and rough, in terms of its taste, being sweet and astringent, in terms of its effect on you, its energy, as cooling, and finally it talks about a sweet after-digestive taste. So these, how Ayurveda describes things in our digesting of them, I'm going to talk about later on, but just to give you a feeling for the terminology. So barley would be considered to be, as a barley water, it's a great tonic, it's a diuretic, it helps you pass water, it can be given in fevers, for an irritation of the bladder or other mucous membranes. An ancient 2,000-year-old Ayurvedic text would say it's a great food for diabetes and obstinate skin disease. It's useful in coughs, colds, asthma, also in heartburn. Dates is another example. Reduced Vata and Pitta, increased Kapha. They're heavy and oily. They have a sweet taste, a cooling effect in the body, and a sweet after-digestive effect. So dates are very nutritious. They're expectorant, they help bring up phlegm. They're a great tonic. They're laxative, they help to go to the loo. They're diuretic. They're aphrodisiac. They're useful in asthma, consumption, weight loss. And here's an interesting one. Milk in which fresh and clean dates are infused is a restorative drink for convalescence from fevers and to relieve alcoholic intoxication. Would you like to hear about grapes? Okay, this is the last one. Grapes reduce Vata, Pitta and Kapha. They're oily, heavy and soft. They're sweet. They have a sour and astringent taste also. They're cooling. They have a sweet after-digestive effect. They're laxative, they're nourishing, they promote your eyesight. They can be used to cure morbid thirst, fever, gout, jaundice, consumption, painful passing of water, and alcoholism. In nosebleeds, grape juice can be used as nasal drops. Interesting thing about grapes you should know, that the skins need to be chewed thoroughly, otherwise they cause wind. So when we're thinking about foods in Ayurveda, Ayurveda describes foods in terms of their qualities. Now there are 20 qualities, basic qualities, that Ayurveda uses. And just maybe to run through some of those and give you a feeling. The qualities of heaviness and lightness. Meat, cheese, peanuts would be heavy. Light would be rice, popcorn, sprouts, ginger. Cold foods like wheat, milk, mint. That's why mint on a mint tea on a hot day will cool you. Hot foods like chili peppers, alcohol, eggs are hot in nature. Oily, things like cheese, avocado, coconut. Millet is dry. Sharp would be things like ginger, chili peppers. Mobile would be things like alcohol. Soft, ghee, avocados. Hard, almonds, sesame seeds. So like that, the 20 qualities would be used to describe your foods, and those qualities impact on your qualities. This is one way Ayurveda have as assessing the food's influence on you. But Ayurveda goes a bit more profound, and it deals with the elements, the 5 elements of space, air, fire, water and earth. And when you look at foods from the perspective of these elements, the earth element produces more solid, dense, heavy, large, oily, sour, sweet foods. Whereas foods that have more of that watery, subtle element in them will be more cool and dense and heavy and moist and smooth. They'll be more sticky, clear, sweet, salty. Foods that have that element of fire in them will be more intense, more hot, more sharp, more light, more fluid, more oily. They'll be more red-orange colour, they'll be pungent, they'll be salty. The air element will be seen in foods that are more rough, hard, wiry, dry, light, bitter, astringent. where the space element is seen in foods in the hollowness and the resonance of them, and the translucency. Blue colour, cold, astringent, pungent. So earth actually, that earth element gives a fragrance to the food, while water gives the taste to the food. And fire is involved in transforming the shape and visual characteristics. The air element is involved in the skin, texture, and the space element gives the food sound, hollowness, resonance. And it is interesting to note the significance of that water element, because water is to do with taste. The water element is the taste to food. And when you think about taste and water, then we process food through taste. And water is that sublime element from which life itself seems to emerge. It's a very fundamental element for physical life. An example of foods in which elements predominate: seeds, nuts, many grains, pulses, they have more earth element. Whereas water element would be more in the dairy, the juicy fruits and vegetables. Fire element is there in the hot spices and sour fruits and alcohol. Air element is there in dried fruit, raw vegetables, beans. Space is there in sprouts, fresh vegetable juices and alcohol. So what's more interesting than analysing intellectually is to move on to what you do every time you put food in your mouth.